So yeah, like, you know what the whole thing is with like upside down pineapples at the grocery store, right?
No.
Yeah. If you go to the grocery store and there's a couple walking around with a upside down pineapple in their cart, they're swingers and they're looking for partners.
Sensational.
Apparently this is big at like the Publix in the
I've
area.
never known that.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
One of those random facts I found out lately that like pineapples are a symbol of swinger communities. Like if you go to like an old folks community and they've got pineapples on all their doors, they're all swingers.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, just next time you're at the grocery store, just for shits and giggles, like look around and see if you spot anybody with a pineapple.
People watching the fruit section.
But the pineapple has to be upside down, and that's the signal that they're looking for somebody.
Oh man. Oh man. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well.
And everybody loves pineapples.
I damn sure do. Welcome back to the B State Podcast. I'm your host, B Cooks, and I'm joined today by a producer, mixer, and engineer. Is that the proper term?
Yeah, I guess that kind of works.
I don't know about the mixer part. Is that a thing?
I'm a mixer.
Okay. All right, guys, and let me give you a round of applause for being here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Because you could have been anywhere else, but you decided to be here with me today, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really actually a beautiful day outside too.
It is. This Georgia weather has me extremely confused.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what's going on. It was 25 degrees yesterday.
and it's like 65, 70 outside now.
Yeah, and I feel overdressed. But how are you?
I'm good. Could go for a pineapple.
Period.
That's what's up. How's the family?
Everybody's doing good. Yeah.
That's what's up. No, nothing too crazy, with this past 12 months.
Nothing too crazy. My girlfriend did get COVID, got over it. My mom and my brother got it. Thankfully, everybody made it through fine. But
That's what's up. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
just kind of been. I don't know. 2020 was a crazy, off the wall, like a lot of weird shit happened year, but for the most part, it just kind of. Nothing really dramatic.
Gary Gropp, ladies and gentlemen.
No matter what happens, these people just keep applauding.
Owner, operator of Gropp Studios.
Yeah, Gropp House.
Gropp House Studios.
Yeah.
Man, how long have you had the studio?
About 10 years now. It's kind of
Oh, that
gone
means
through an evolution of different setups and expanding from being a little room into taking over the whole house.
right. I think I visited there for the first time probably 10 years ago. Maybe 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, that was probably
When you still had the dog?
Yeah, that was back when I still had Otis. Let's see. That would have been 2011, 2012.
Yeah, so that is about 10 years ago then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was at the beginning phases.
Yeah.
You had
That
a
was right
pretty-
when I started taking it serious.
You had a nice setup for the time. Shoot,
No,
that's for
thank
sure.
you. I mean, I tried.
Yeah, and I
It's just
came,
been
bro.
an evolution of learning what I'm doing wrong.
When I was coming to your studio, like I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I was going to the studio. Mind you, your studio is the first studio I had ever been to.
Okay.
Ever.
Oh.
Ever. Where it was like, yo, we're going to the studio.
Yeah, you
like,
need to come back by
studio.
soon.
Yeah, and I'm
It
sure
looks
I'm
completely
sure it's
different.
completely different. And I swear, like when I went there, doesn't matter who I was with. That's neither here nor there. But I swore I heard the beat to You Ain't Even Know It 150 times.
That's possible.
Back to back to back to back.
I mean, that was the time period that was going on. So
yeah, and mind you, this is my very first time in the studio. You know what I mean? I had a whole bunch of friends that do something remotely audio production, rap, something related. Never had been to the studio though. Didn't understand the process, nothing. You know, just loved music. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we doing? I'm here. I've heard this beat 100 million times. What are we listening for? Like, is there something
All
where
the little changes.
mind you, because I didn't know what they were. I'm just
You're
hearing
just like,
the beat. I'm just like being drowned by 808s for like
the same 808.
2 hours.
And
at
probably
least.
probably only 4 to 8 bars of the same thing too.
I don't even think there were even words on it at the time.
I don't know if it
I
was
cannot remember any.
Because it may have just been I don't know about that.
It was just I couldn't remember. I can't remember any. But then again, I don't know what I was listening to. Okay, and then 8 months later, everybody's talking about Molly and somebody's champagne, and nobody knew about it.
I don't think that beat was done at my place.
I don't think it was done there. I was saying we were listening to it there.
Yeah, you may have just been hearing it.
Because you remember what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, with people
we may have just been hearing the beat. Cause I knew
it wasn't made there. But we were listening to it
because it was
billion times. Okay. It went from hearing it a billion times to 6 to 8 months later, everybody's like, Molly and the champagne, you ain't even know.
Oh, and walking through the mall and it's being played in every single damn store.
Yes.
And just being like, what's going on?
I was like, why do people like this song? No, it was a good song.
It was a good song.
No, it was a good song.
It was a good song.
But because that was my first experience.
Because you would listen to the beat for 8 hours straight.
Right. I was like, man, cut this shit off. Cut it off.
Yeah, how do you think I feel sometimes when people take a couple hours to record a song and then come out and they've done it bar by bar and ask, hey, how's the song sound? I have no idea yet.
Right. It's like we didn't do anything. Like, so what you have in the studio, you had to have been doing music prior to that, right?
Like I grew up kind of playing. Like as a teenager, I kind of started in the church, called whatever. But yeah, I started doing like church band, and once I found out that it was a business and got kicked out, I started kind of doing recording stuff and went and did like a little BS recording training thing in Atlanta and bought a whole bunch of equipment and just kind of started doing that. Did it as like a little hobby.
Oh,
and then gave it up for a while and then got back into it with some like friends push. And
so you're really like self-taught?
Yeah, I've taught myself everything.
That's
I've gone to a couple like master type classes, but the last one I went to was complete and utter bullshit. And
was it something you had already mastered?
It was a Q&A of, so what is this rapper that you particularly work for all the time like? Instead of, hey, this is how this session was actually mixed or worked on. And it was frustrating.
That's fucking trash.
But basically just kind of trial and error, figuring out what my clients like, figuring out what I think sounds good, figuring out how to make the room sound better so I can hear the speakers better. It's, yeah.
Kind of just been building along the way?
It kind of just chose me.
That's what's up.
Everything that I've ever tried to do outside of music has just been a door slammed in my face so hard that it hurts. So I've just kind of like stuck with it.
So you really,
There's really no other options.
So you've been doing it for how long would you say?
Taking it serious about 10 years now.
Oh, seriously, for 10 years.
Yeah.
But
overall, I mean, I started playing bass when I was like 14. So.
Oh wow! So you've been See, I can't play an instrument worth a damn.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a horrible musician. I'm much better engineer than I am musician.
So what makes somebody an engineer? Like what is that?
I mean, it's really just being able to kind of go in there and identify not necessarily what like you would like. Not necessarily like what are problems, but like what frequencies are sticking out, what like type of compression you need to make things work, how to go in and just adjust the little things in the song that nobody should ever notice that are there to make it sound cleaner and make things work. Because when you are working with audio, you only have a certain spectrum of music, and a certain amount of frequencies that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make sure that everything can be heard. So you have to
Okay.
carve out certain areas of those frequencies that like aren't completely necessary for the sound to be heard in one instrument for another instrument to be heard in that area.
So you're kind of like trimming the tree a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's very, kind of like bonsai.
Okay.
Like where you're having to make really kind of delicate cuts because not everything has to be a huge cut or a small cut. It just, you have to figure out what is going to be right for each individual song
Gotcha. Okay.
because none of them are the same.
Right. Most of that I don't understand.
I know I'm not really explaining it that well.
It's totally okay. It's totally okay. But
But it's mainly just getting in there and being able to assemble the song because when people go in and you record, it doesn't sound like what you hear as a final product. Like what you hear on
for
the radio
sure.
sounds completely different. The engineer's the guy that's in there putting the auto-tune on to make sure it's in the right key to the right song, making sure the 808s are in key for the song because a lot of producers will skip out on that and not check their 808s. Like just getting in there and making sure everything is right and musical and that you get the song pushed out and that you serve what the song is doing.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Kind of just put it all together, kind of glue it in to where it actually will sound good and then translate on multiple devices. Because it needs to sound good in the studio, but it also needs to sound good in the car. It also needs to sound good on headphones or whatever little wireless USB device you're using or
Gotcha.
Bluetooth device.
Okay, so that's your job to make sure it's clean from start to finish. You know, sounds
Make sure you capture the
sounds
sound
the best
right.
it's supposed to sound for that particular song.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. Is what you do underappreciated?
It depends on where. Like
If you were to say,
clients that, like, I mean, do you mean by clients or do you mean by like
I mean,
public, or
I guess
how do
on an industry scale.
on an industry scale? It depends. Like, you have some clients and people that don't understand how the process works, and they're the ones that'll undervalue what an engineer does, as well. But you also have a lot of clients that completely understand that the music isn't going to get to that point without having an engineer or having somebody that can push them a little bit better, because it's not, music isn't a solitary thing. It's a team sport.
Right.
Like, you have to have multiple ears to make sure everything kind of works and gets done. A lot of people will just want to rush through a session and not care and don't understand that there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But then most of the time, those are people that aren't really taking themselves serious.
Because it's a lot more than just talking into a microphone, pressing record.
When you start dealing with people that are actually taking themselves serious as musicians and as artists, they typically understand and appreciate the engineers and value engineers. It's generally people that just don't know what they're doing in the studio that treat engineers like crap. Or don't understand that there's a job going on that the engineer's doing. And they just think, well, this is what it's going like. Or they go to a string of engineers that don't know what they're doing and they all just sound like crap. And they're fresh because they're not paying them anything, so they're doing it for free because they're trying to learn. And that's what they gauge engineers off of.
Wow.
That can come out. But for the most part, the people that I work with appreciate engineers. I don't really work with anybody that has.
So you've
like
learned, have you learned to like vet the.
Oh, I learned no.
Yeah.
I mean, if
how
somebody.
long did it take you to learn that?
I mean, it took a few years into like kind of just getting in, because at first you're just really hungry and you're wanting to like take everything because you want to do everything. And now I know to say just no to certain things, like gospel. Well, not completely to gospel, but if they call and they tell me they're doing gospel, I have to say no. If they call and tell me they're doing songs and they show up and it's gospel, fine. But there's something weird about when they call and tell me it's gospel.
Like what ends up happening?
It's just bad.
Like the songs themselves?
Everything about it.
Is the entire
whole thing is just an entire shit show. Whenever whenever I'm preemptively told that it's gospel. When it just arrives and it's gospel, or they're just talking about songs, oh, I want to record songs, and they come in and it turns out gospel, great. But something about when they preemptively tell me this, and I don't understand because it's happened every time.
So what's happened?
I've tested this theory on multiple, just weird, just like
the vibe just be off, like just.
It's usually people that have no business singing,
Ooh.
or like come in and they tell me all sorts of big credentials on things, and then they get in and
it's bad.
it's just like, well, oh, you should
Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
But I mean, that's what'll happen is they'll come in and it'll just be bad, because most of the time, if they're actually like a good singer and they're going to do gospel music, they come in and they're talking about a song.
Right.
They're not coming in and saying like, I want to do gospel music because I do it at church. And then you're like, oh, and then they get in,
come
you're
in
like,
winging it.
You're like, so what do you do at church? Oh, well, I mean, I just from my pew. I'm like, oh God, the next couple of hours are going to be painful, aren't they?
Oh man, so it's
and then they come in and be like, can you auto-tune that? And they're like, can you make it not sound like T-Pain though? I'm like, no.
What is that? Do they not? They must not know T-Pain can sing without auto-tune.
Well, I was just meaning that like they're just so far out that it's gonna only sound.
Yeah, that's how they think it's gonna save them, but it's not. It's gonna be bad and auto-tuned.
But that's only, like I said, the only time that happens is if they preemptively tell me it's gospel.
But then how often do you run into like bad rap music?
Oh, run it bad rap music all the time.
So that's expected.
Everybody thinks they can rap. What are you talking about?
That is a fact. That is a fact. You know, I had an artist up here that said rapping is like a trade now.
It's a sport.
Like you can literally, like, you know what? Everybody's making money. I'm a rap.
I saw, I wish I could remember the guy's full name. It's an engineer in Atlanta. But he was doing an interview and he made the comment that when he like first started recording rappers, because he'd always done bands and stuff, he didn't get it. And then it made sense one day when it would be a group of guys, they'd come in and rap and they'd be trading off. He goes, it's like basketball. They're trying to outdo each other and out-hype the next person when they come in, because that's what's happening. You get a lot of just like groups of friends that want to come in and rap, and like sometimes they come in and they're good and they nail it, but then sometimes you just get like some guys that they just called it the studio and they want to have fun. And I mean, if they want to have fun, I'll indulge, but like if they want to take it serious, then I'm there to like help facilitate and make it serious. But yeah, I mean, bad rappers are just expected.
Shoot down the bad rappers. Stop. Well, he gets paid for his time, so keep rapping. Keep rapping, you bad rappers.
I mean, I don't really keep the bad rappers around.
Oh, I'm sure they might. It's like
I know a couple of them's feelings that I've
it's like when you get when you buy some bad weed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got me that time.
Yeah.
I ain't buying this shit again.
Oh, I have a whole list of do not books in my phone. So when the phone rings, you're like, nope, not answering.
You cannot record here.
Oh no, I mean I've had to. I'm not going to name names, but there have been a couple of people that have had to been escorted out aggressively. And
so you've had to manhandle some people?
I haven't had to manhandle them, but they have had to be escorted out aggressively.
Like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, throw Jazz out of the house?
They had to be escorted out and not allowed to return.
You're white, so I know you have some of these.
But, I mean, that's only had to happen a couple of times.
Oh, man, respect the man's territory.
Well, I mean, you're in the studio, like... That's kind of to be expected.
And then it's your studio.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, people bring weapons into the studio all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a regular thing for most.
Like, I almost lost my life at fucking QC in Atlanta one time recording because somebody dropped a goddamn gun.
I saw a clip of Lucci had a gun in a video shoot or a photo shoot, and it went off. I'm like, what are you idiots doing? What are y'all doing?
I am recording and hear clink behind me and turn and look and I think it was a Tech 9 pointed straight at me.
Why?
Because it was there. Somebody bumped it with the laptop and it knocked it off the table.
Thank God it didn't go off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here.
This is why I use electronic signs. Unless somebody has to be escorted out aggressively. Then that's a whole different conversation.
Funny part is one time that I did that and then that person's mom came and apologized that I had to do that.
Sensational.
Oh gosh. How was that moment for you?
Weird.
I bet. Was she crying? Was he crying?
He wasn't there anymore.
She came back by herself?
Yes.
Oh.
I felt so bad for this woman. I felt absolutely horrible for her. But it was also the most
I bet that man
surreal
went
thing.
home and cried all his tears. He went home with his life. He probably peed on himself. Couple drops of pee probably came out. Why you had to scare him like that?
I got the video and remind me next time you're at the studio.
You got the video. Man, technology is a motherfucker. Do you hear me? You don't need to do nothing stupid around nobody that has... You have everything. Idiots.
I mean,
Fucking dummies.
all recording studios have security cameras.
Exactly.
Like, it's just kind of like a known thing.
That's so fucking stupid.
But I mean, it's very rare because I'm pretty good at vetting and kind of telling like kind of who these people like
Who's
are
serious,
before they
who
get
isn't.
to the house,
Yeah.
because you can tell a lot by the conversation on the phone and how they're trying to book and what they say. And it's like any industry or any job you kind of get into that has like its own jargon and own like keywords that once you hear them.
But yeah, so you learn to basically figure out who speaks the language in order to, know who's serious, who isn't, who's wasting your time.
Yeah, you can kind of get a vibe off of who's coming in and what kind of session it's going to be depending on how they like talk on the phone. I'm taking these off.
Oh yeah, no worries.
But I'm just like, I mean, if I don't like working with the person, I'm not going to work with them.
Yeah, and you've earned that. You've earned the right too.
Because, well, I mean, it's not even an earn the right. Like, everybody has that right. If no matter what level you're at, if you're an engineer or if you're like
You
an
have the
assistant,
choice.
if you
You're providing
don't
a
like
service.
what you're working with or the people you're working with, like, don't work with them.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, that masterclass that I told you about that I went to where everybody was just asking like stupid questions. That was one of them that kept coming up from people that like I know are working in Atlanta and like engineers and stuff. Because I know the whole way that engineers get treated in Atlanta is a lot different than how I allow myself to be treated. And they get pushed around a lot. But one of the questions that kept coming up is, hey, if I'm working with this producer, but I don't like the way they treat me and I don't like working with them, what should I do?
So there's
Don't work with them.
So there's a whole bunch of people that's scared to say no.
Yeah. So Atlanta's kind of used to being able to push engineers around a little bit more. So that's why you kind of hear that. Because like that shit, like...
And that's why you were saying you learned fast on how to say no.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm not there just to record endless songs. I'm there to try and make good music and try and help somebody make something good. Not just turn out as many songs as you possibly can.
Right.
Or just sit in the studio forever, like hanging out and just doing every song line by line by line by line. Like, come on, like if you
punching in and shit all day.
Like I've made a few people mad because I do have the opinion like if you have to punch in every line, you're not a rapper.
Right.
Like
you're destroying the craft. You're just
saying line by line and you're making it up and it's taking forever. If you have to do that, like you're writing on the mic. Like sit down and write the song and actually learn how to rap it. Well, I'm not going to be a rapper at that speed. Well, then you're not a rapper. And I've said that to people like point blank when they're in the tracking room. And like some of those people, it's kicked their ass and they've come back and actually turned into decent rappers. Like, because I work with a lot of people that are like, it's their first time in the studio or they're new to it. And I just don't sugarcoat the shit when I'm working with people.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're very direct. I mean, a lot of people get too many, like you said, there's too many yes men, basically.
Yeah.
And people lying to them, and they wonder why they do or don't make it, or because they're not willing to listen, they're not willing to be critiqued, they're not willing to just get a different opinion. Not to say you're bad, or even if you are bad.
Yeah.
But just from another perspective, you have another angle of direction, or so you can look at something in order to churn out a better product in the long term. And a lot of people just don't want to hear that's not good, or they want the soft version. Oh, it could be better. No, it's bad. It's bad, dude.
I mean, it really that's what it comes down to.
Hold yourself accountable, dude. This shit is whack. Like, let's be real.
And then if somebody has that attitude to where they want me just to yes man them up and be like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, I'll be sarcastic about it,
but that's when
that's
I'm
probably
lying
not
to
going to
you.
be the only. That's probably going to be the last
I
session.
am
I take
lying
with
to you, and this is not to your benefit.
Like the only time that ever works. Like sometimes, like I've had people before that absolutely drove me insane. But kept wanting to come back and were always enthusiastic, wanting to come back, and I would do it because like, all right, they like something that I'm doing, and like they're happy about it. It makes them happy. I'm going to do it, even though they drive me absolutely insane. This is my job. This is that. And then I've turned out actually having decent relationships with some of those people over time.
And that's what it's about.
And it's about like kind of helping develop like where their art is going,
right?
And help like kind of build
and
up
with
the
that.
songs.
That's where they say, what is it? When they team up with a producer or engineer or something like that, and they people use the term like, oh, he helped me find my sound, or that kind of thing.
Because you kind of can, because when you're sitting there, like the engineer is the one that's like, especially if you're recording vocals, and you're working with like a rapper or like an R&B artist or a singer, that you're just working a lot one-on-one, and you're going back and forth. Well, what do you think about this beat? Do you like this beat? And they start asking your opinion. Once you start building that rapport, like you start understanding that, oh, this artist likes to have this type of sound. And then I have like my Pro Tools stuff set up to where I have session templates for certain artists that I know that I work with a lot.
Right. So
I have their basics of like, this is what they prefer. This is what they like. I can bring it right up when they're in, and we work quick.
Right. And that's when they say they churn out, or for those who I guess have the budget, like a bigger artist or something like that, and they say, oh man, we got in the studio, we knocked this out in 10 minutes. Yeah. Because they have a relationship with the producer / engineer.
But I mean, I've had that happen. Like I've got one artist, shout out Coolin, E Coolin. He's had like, I've been working with him pretty much since I kind of actually started taking it serious. And he'll come in and he'll have practiced his like 5 songs, knock them out in 25, 30 minutes, just record straight through. And then we'll spend the rest of the time tweaking and working on the songs.
And even as I'm a huge consumer of music. Like I listen to it for a certain way. You know what I mean? I like all genres of music, and I've always said like I don't understand how people can waste time going to the studio not being ready to lay the song.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
I understand because some people do come in, and I do have some artists that like to come in and write in the studio because they don't have access to speakers.
And that is different. You know what I mean? But like when it's time to, I don't know, I just feel like going into the booth outside of writing right there in the room, then going into the booth, this shouldn't be the first time you've said this.
But then there are some guys that can freestyle.
That's a gift.
That's like one thing.
There
are people that can really go in and freestyle. There's a
lot of Drake Blackberry rap.
You mean iPhone rap? Nobody.
Oh yeah, we don't have Blackberries anymore. But yes,
it's all in notes. It's all in the notes. Because apparently with notes you can like share to multiple people. So I'll have like, I've noticed, I've listened to them. I haven't tried this shit, but they'll be in there and like switching notes between all the like people that are on the song, because I get a lot of people that'll bring like 2 or 3 people to be on tracks, and they're just
Interesting.
doing like freestyle tracks or like they're writing in the studio. But that's where I say those songs I kind of treat them like more of a sport.
Okay, I'm with you. So what does it say the most interesting thing that you've experienced on this 10-year run in the studio?
Oh God, it's always an interesting experience.
I mean, you've already said a Tech 9 was, or
that was the scariest shit.
because you already live a pretty interesting life in general.
I live a boring life. I'm not that
Call it
interesting.
what you freaking want, dude. All right. I only know 2 people that have that fucking Lou Williams on the Clippers, Lewis Williams, and fucking D. Ray Davis. There's the only 2 black people and people in general that I know who successfully live some. What? You got 2 girlfriends, bro?
I had 2 girlfriends.
Okay, whatever, bro. Like, I don't know too many.
I have 1 girlfriend.
You're
now,
the 3rd
and she doesn't-
person that I could name that ever lived. Come on, dude. That's not regular.
I mean,
shit.
that's not like a. Yeah, it's not.
That's not regular, bro. I'm sorry.
Not regular.
People with 2 girlfriends be like,
But I'm no,
not
I mean,
currently. Excuse
not
me.
currently. I have
This
one
is not
girlfriend.
current. Okay.
I have 1 girlfriend.
It's not current.
I love very much. She
Yeah,
lives
yeah.
with me and is very
But
amazing,
at
and
one point in your life,
we had a girlfriend.
see what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that. You know, that's not regular. So what's
What? It's just
I'm trying to reword the question differently.
it's just called polyamory.
No, not that part. Not that part. That shit's just cool as fuck. But
Like, it's not that crazy.
dude. For you, it's not, of course. It's not crazy at all. It's just interesting. It's intriguing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I mean, he lived it. He didn't just talk about it. He didn't make this up. He didn't put it in a book. This is real life. It's real life. I watch, music
I have
videos.
a really, really awesome
You know?
girlfriend. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, man.
Sensational.
Sensational. All right. I just think that shit's fucking cool. But
Okay. But anyway,
but yeah, so nothing outside of the Tech 9. What else have you seen?
I mean, plenty of guns. Like, that's normal.
No crazy story like where you come in, oh man, we about to make some songs, and then he get too fucked up and fall asleep.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
That's regular.
That's a normal occurrence. There was a producer that I used to work with that would I'd quite often walk in the studio and find him just sitting completely straight up at his computer asleep.
What is going on here?
That's why you don't do drugs, kids.
Period.
Stay away from them pills.
Yes.
By all means, smoke
Man,
weed and eat
in
mushrooms.
the studio. I'm not even gonna say in the studio environment. I've seen some, to me, what I deem crazy shit as far as like motherfuckers doing drugs that have them doing shit like that.
I mean, people have whipped like drugs that's just normal though. People like whip out coke or something like that, but like I usually try not to work with pill like poppers and cokeheads too much.
Yeah, that would.
I generally try to attract like a very chill kind of like weed rappers and like people that
Right.
enjoy
Music.
making good music and having a
Right.
good time, that aren't coming in and like having to be strapped to the nines. Because if you come into the studio and you have to bring your like fucking like arsenal with you,
That's fucking stupid.
who are you worried about pulling up? Don't bring that shit my way.
Right. You have no reason to be a
Like
part of it.
I don't want to be I don't want to be part of this shit.
So what is one of your biggest accomplishments as a producer or excuse me, engineer?
I mean that I can do it full time and that it's what I get to do for a living. That's what I consider the biggest accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, it puts food on the table and all that good stuff.
I don't I don't know. It's hard for me to look at them like that. Like, I mean, I got mentioned in XXL like one time
That's cool.
several years ago, but that was like a really tiny little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just that I get to continue working and making music.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that means you love music.
I haven't
as a
had
whole.
any like actual like on the chart like hit songs or something like that. I've had a bunch of songs that have gotten radio play. I had a song a couple years ago called Dollar Bill that got some top 40 play.
That's what's up.
But that was with the artist name's Gregory Rufus, and that one got some cool play on it. But I mean,
Ultimately, just being able
I
to
kind of-
make a career out of it.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just want to be able to continue to make music and do that for a living, and I'm really blessed to be able to do that for a living. But I've had to work and get to that point, and it's an ongoing thing. It's never done. I'm never always completely happy with my mixes and how things are sounding. I'm always trying to improve and get better. Like I was talking to you about before, I'm about to rip out the studio and retreat it again. And I'm either doing that tomorrow or the day after.
And when you say retreat it, like, what does that mean? Like, you're just going...
I'm redoing the way the acoustic treatment's set up in the room, adding more bass trapping, more absorption, make it a little bit tighter of a room.
Okay.
Make it just kind of, like I said, it's gone through many iterations, and it's just one of those things of learning what I've got to do to make it better. And it's kind of like learning, like, okay, well, this is still kind of lacking in the room. And plus, I just upgraded speakers, so they're louder. So I need to dampen some of that down. Just remodel a little bit, refresh the room.
That's what's up. Do you ever plan on, like, I guess, expanding?
Not really.
Or do you, like, kind of like the leverage you have?
Because, I mean, the
with
house
your...
is, like, set up right now in a way that I like.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is mainly just going to be kind of keeping that, but I'm with COVID kind of like once it finally wraps up and we're kind of done with whatever BS is going on with that, I'm hoping things start improving on the West Coast because I really want to be out in LA working, and I want to be able to fly out there and spend some more time in LA and like be in that scene.
Okay.
Because Atlanta's okay, but I'm not a huge Atlanta person.
Yeah, I got you.
And
that's just not your vibe.
And I don't want to work in Nashville. Like I could do Nashville stuff, but like
I think your gospel debate will turn into like country music.
I want to be on the West Coast where things are a little bit like
things are move forward.
Yeah, and it's also
forward.
Just like LA's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love it out there. And COVID's
creatively
kept me away from it.
Creatively is definitely like I could understand. You know, when the sun's always up, it's hard not to have some kind of creative juices flowing.
Yeah. Plus the weed's better.
For shit, sure. Jeez, dude. You know, it's right up the street.
What do you mean right up the street? To my door.
Yeah, we could DoorDash it.
Yeah. All over the place.
Yeah. I mean, it's lightening up slowly, but slowly.
I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of like trying to just do my own thing a little bit. I've got some like projects that I am working on that are coming up this year that'll be interesting and kind of dictate where I kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just kind of go with the flow on it.
Yeah. What do you feel like how do you feel about the current state of the music industry right now with the pandemic, altering how the music industry flows a little bit?
It's fucked a lot of people's money up because people aren't making their tour money. So then they're not able to go on tour. So they're not able to make money to go record. Because, I mean, let's face it, at this time, like recording is just essentially the product to help promote to go see the show.
Right.
Where it used to be the shows were to promote to go buy the album.
Right.
Now it's the opposite way because that's where artists make their money. And if they can't do shows, they can't make money. So
because it seems like it's been
just
like
kind of slowed up a lot of things. Some things are still some people it hadn't affected and they're still in full swing. But
I mean, to me, it seems like those are the
It's the live area that kind of sucks.
Yeah. And that hurts a lot of people's pockets.
Yeah.
You know, that don't even rap, sing, whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think about all the people like all the stagehands, the riggers,
All that whole staff,
the lighting crew, the audio crew that goes out on tour. All that's just shut down right now, and it sucks. I miss going to concerts.
For you and me both. So for you as an engineer, you know, has it picked up? You know, some people, you know, it's been like a 180 for a lot. It's either like shit's crashing or shit's like picking up out of control.
There were like, it's basically like things are good. They could always be better, but like I only saw like maybe 1 month or so last year that it really kind of just slowed down a little bit, and that, like, frankly, that was just coming off because when like those unemployment benefits were going crazy,
yeah,
the studio was packed all the time,
right?
And then once those ended, I was like, hey, where'd everybody go?
It's like, yeah, they ran out of money.
But then I was like, oh, okay. But then like that was only like a week or two lull, but. I mean, it's been pretty just steady. But the thing is, I've got a lot of clients that I work with that I've worked with for a long time.
Got you.
And
you have repeat.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of clients that come in from out of town.
Got you.
And they like come in from different parts of the country, and this is where they stop.
Right. So you're like that. Okay, if I need to get in the studio, you're one of the locations I can go to.
Yeah, but I mean, I have people that will come like I've got one guy that drives down from like Kentucky.
Wow.
Like just to go. And then like I've got a guy that flies in from Chicago, and
that's crazy.
Come up from Florida, but yeah, like I've got just some clients that I work with a lot, and I have a smaller base of like actual like local rappers that I actually work with, like I don't know, probably one of the more promising ones that's actually a producer and rapper. Have you heard the Just Like Tajay stuff? Oh, dude, that guy's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to him. I need to check him out. Yeah, I'm always down to listen to some new music. We did a project called
Just that he released back at the end of the year. And I think it's got like a little over 15,000 plays on it now, just on like his promotion.
Okay.
So
hell yeah, I'll check him out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is there anybody you'd like to work with? Or is that more one of the things you stopped thinking about?
That was one of the things I stopped thinking about. Because it used to be that I would like see artists that I wanted to work with, and I'd go and pursue them, and then those would usually end up being just nightmare sessions.
Wow. Is it like a clash of egos kind of thing, or is it like they're actually not what
I've learned
was
that I'd rather work with people that are coming to me because they've heard something that I've done.
That means they want your service
instead of me going to try and seek out somebody. Because there's been like cases like where like I used to do like stupid stuff, like do things for free or trying to offer this and help somebody out or do that, and I've kind of learned not to do that anymore because people just walk all over you and take advantage, no matter how much you think your relationship could be with them. But I mean, there was one time where it was like an artist in a completely different genre than what I usually work in, and I was like, hey, I'll do a song, and thinking, okay, they're going to have this song together. I was like, here, we'll do this on this one afternoon. I'll do this. I'll use it as a portfolio type thing. And like 3 sessions later, the song still wasn't done. And then they gave up on it. And I'm like, I just wasted all this time trying to do something for somebody.
Yeah. So you're like, F this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing shit for free no more.
Exactly. And one time I even like, I did a mix. I helped somebody out and mixed a project for them that we'd done all the roughs, and I mixed the project for them and got it to them in time to upload, but they still uploaded the rough versions.
And that's crazy because, I do some photography stuff on the side, right? And people will want edited photos and shit like that. And then they'll put up a photo and put a filter on an edited photo.
Oh, yeah.
And at first, when I first got my camera, I was like, dude, fuck this. Like, that is a slap in the fucking face.
Oh, that's what kills me is people release their raw tracks all the time. They don't want to get
anything. And they sound like shit.
And they don't understand, a lot of people don't understand the quality of, like, if you take your raw and you're on the 2-track beat, like, it can only go so far. And that's a raw. That's done in just a few minutes. When somebody actually sits down and mixes a track, they take several hours out of their day to work on that song, and then they check it the next day with fresh ears to make sure the song's right. And then they take it and do car checks and make sure it sounds on like good on any type of speakers, and they make sure the song's right. And it's not just a certain amount of time that they allot to do a mix. When you pay somebody to do a mix, they do that mix, and they get it right, and they work with you to get it right. Where when you just take the rough and release it, it's still got your breaths in it. It's not EQ'd all the way. It's not compressed all the way. You're basically saying, here, this is all I'm willing to pay to make myself sound good. This is as far as I believe in myself, if you only release your roughs. Like, granted, I have a lot of people that release their roughs because I can get them really close to being finished.
But that's
like
still
a finished
not
kind of
finished.
sound. But it's not finished. And I try to explain that. And that's why everything that I send to people is labeled rough or mixed. And some people will still just release the roughs because they don't want to spend the extra money. Because, yeah, it could be like $200 to $500 for a mix, but that's a lot of time, and a lot of more stuff is going to be done to it and bring it to a different level. And then some people will just try and get a mix and not get the actual instrumental. They'll just have the 2-track beat and won't get everything tracked out to where you can't actually do the mix. You're just mixing vocals.
Wow. So people just kind of skip steps.
Big steps. And then they wonder why their song isn't blowing up because they don't do any promotion on the song.
Right. They just expect because they went to the booth one day that it's supposed to
Yeah,
work.
the song's supposed to be hot.
No, that fucking doesn't work.
When they don't want to get it mixed, they don't want to get this optimal sound to it. They don't want to finish it out right.
What does it mean when somebody says like when it mentions the word stems?
Stems. Stems means that, like, okay, this is super technical because there's a difference between track outs and stems.
Cause I just hear like watching a whole bunch of
somebody
music
wants
shit.
stems,
People's like, no, I'm not
stems
sending
are
you
generally
the stems.
processed versions of like the individual tracks. Like if you get to like a beat stems, it would be like whatever the producer had processed and done on the snare.
It'd be like them individual little like
individuals
pieces.
or like groups that they'd put together. If you get the track out, it's everything raw.
Okay.
And that's like on vocals. If you get track out, it's everything raw. If you get vocal stems, it should have what the engineer had done to those vocals printed on it already.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Generally when I'm mixing, like for beat stuff, beat stems can work. You kind of want everything tracked out to where you can kind of really have control of it. And that's when you can go and mix, because when you're mixing to just a 2-track, like an MP3, first of all, if you're mixing to an MP3, like, or ripping it off of YouTube just to get it in there, your like sound quality is cut in half instantly.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed, like anytime you convert or transfer something from another platform,
it's worse because the thing is, do you know how MP3s work?
Not at all.
Okay. This is the difference between a wave and an MP3. You know those sentences or those like phrases when you be like scrolling through social media and it'll be a grouping of words and they're kind of scrambled, but you can read it. Or there's like letters left out, but you can read it. Actually, It's more accurate to the letters left out. That's what an MP3 is. An MP3 is the audio with those letters left out, and your brain actively puts those back in and tricks your brain into hearing it. When you listen to a wave or like an actual CD, which is just this wave, or lossless, you're hearing the full picture. So you're actually passively listening to the music to where your brain isn't having to process. It's just actually absorbing and listening. Where when you listen to an MP3, your brain is actually having to actively listen to it and fill in the blanks. That's why when you listen to MP3s,
that's the change in the listening experience.
It changes the listening experience, and it's also cutting the quality.
Right.
But it also it changes the way your brain relaxes on it. Your whole head has to work differently to listen to it.
So that better explains how I be feeling when I listen to certain kinds of music.
Because like if you listen to like a vinyl record, or if you're listening to like an actual CD, or if you listen to like Tidal if you've got like the hi-fi or master version of Tidal, your brain's just passively hearing the music. It's not having to fill in blanks.
Right. It's an overall like the listening experience is just cleaner.
And that's also closer to like if you are listening like on Tidal and you get like the master version on Tidal, you're hearing what the final engineer that worked on that song was hearing on their speakers. You're not hearing like a compressed version like
Right,
with iTunes
right.
and Spotify, and all of them will do a compressed version. Even Tidal has a compressed version just to make it smaller.
A copy of a copy of a copy.
But it's also just cutting it down and just squeezing everything and taking out parts that your brain will put in automatically.
Okay. Makes more sense now.
Yeah, it's
that's
I mean, it's just a quality thing.
it helps me just better
so I mean,
understand
if you
that.
really want your song to succeed, like go the extra mile and get your song mixed. I mean,
pay the money, guys.
Pay your engineer to mix
pay
the
your
songs.
engineer. Pay him.
Don't release your
pay the
rush.
man.
Not just me, just whoever your engineer is.
All the mans, all the producer, engineer, mixer guys.
But
do
damn
people-
sure make sure your engineer knows that he does not own your sessions.
Yeah, that's something I've heard about throughout my industry friends or whatever.
There's some people around that think that if somebody records at their studio that they own the session and they shouldn't give them their files unless they pay extra for the files.
Wow.
Which
I mean,
is not how that works legally at all.
Wouldn't they have to sign a paper or something?
If you pay me, if you sit here and pay to record something, those files are yours.
Right, because
You are paying
that's
to
part
make
of the
those
package.
files. That person has to turn those files over to you, and can't be like, oh, well, I'm gonna have to charge you extra because if you want to own the files.
I learned something new today, guys.
I hear about this all the time.
Wow,
And
that's
it's
crazy.
some stupid.
So people be
shiesty bullshit.
strong arming people basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
People try to pull stupid shit.
So
Just
not
try to
only
make money.
not only the push people around, but
And
the strong arming.
that's engineers to artists.
Wow. So that's how that's their get back.
Yeah,
basically.
push the people around that are coming to pay you.
Wow. It's like, nah, okay, yeah, you paid for coming in my studio. That's the time you paid for. Now the product that you made in that studio costs you more money if you want it.
Because they don't want it to leave their hands because they don't want somebody else to possibly mix it. Which is like a real green type engineer thing. They're like,
but that's a common thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a common thing. If you come record,
Because
do you know how many sessions I send out
Yeah.
all the time?
I mean, because artists go to studio to studio
yeah,
to studio to
people
studio.
travel. They come
Right.
and record. They want to send it back to their engineer, or they have somebody that mixes for them, or they have somebody that does it particularly.
What separates an engineer from somebody that mixes?
There are people that just record and just sit there and push the button and hit record and try and tick.
It's okay. I've had dudes pull out guns and all kind of shit. Crazy shit. So, the difference between an engineer and a guy who mixes, the mixing part is what exactly?
The mixing part, people that are actually mixing, and when you're going in and mixing, you're spending the extra time going on the details. To where you're going in and making and EQing and separating and making sure everything works together at once. You can't really do that in a recording session all at once. It on the hour when
Right.
somebody's in there trying to record and getting everything right. You can quickly throw a quick EQ together. It's going to make things sound good while you're in the studio, have something good for you to listen to when you leave, but you're not going to have a finished product.
Okay.
To actually get everything right and get everything balanced, it takes more time, and you need to be able to focus. You need to be able to have time to listen to it and step away and come back and let your ears rest. Also, when you're mixing, you're not mixing at the level that you're listening to stuff at when you're in a recording session. When you're in a recording session, you're trying to keep the energy up and keep the artist motivated and keep everything going. So you're sitting in there and your speakers are going to be hitting 114, 120 decibels.
Right.
That's way too high to mix to get levels right. That's going to cause all sorts of issues no matter what kind of room or how well treated the room is. Typically a good mixing engineer will usually mix around 85 to 90 dB is how loud it'll be in the room.
Because I've seen
Because I should be able to be mixing the song and doing the basic stuffs on it and be sitting here and talking to you at the same level. And that's
Okay.
how you can hear, because that's when speakers are accurately replicating the sound. Is it about 85 hertz? Or
Right,
85 decibels.
Okay. Because
That's
that
when speakers are
that
most
120 is because that's not the average listening experience.
And you're also everything's cranked up. So when it's that loud, you're straining your ears.
Right.
Your ears can't be as exact. So after you've gotten your ears tired, just think about when you go to a concert and you leave, or when you're leaving the studio and your ears are ringing. That engineer's ears are ringing too. they're not going to be able to like hit out a perfect mix when they're listening to it at top volume.
Got you.
Like,
Got you.
You can get close, you can make things sound good, but like to do everything
that won't,
right,
like you said, it won't translate over to every device. Or
I mean, it could. Like, depends on the engineer. Like, I've got songs, like I said, that are released and sound good on anything that get played on, and they're just the rough. But that's not always the case.
Right. So
And
why
if you
don't
want-
skip steps regardless?
Yeah, don't skip steps.
Gotcha.
Like, every now and then, like, you get songs that are good enough, but still, like, why not make your song the best it could be?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Like, pay your engineer. Like, pay them to mix. Let them do that. Let them get a finished product. Because also, when you do that, you're shorting yourself as an artist if you don't get your stuff mixed. And then you're also like making your engineer look a little bit bad because you're not showing what their full potential are.
Right,
Because
right.
people are going to hear it and think, oh, well, that's what their full quality is. When it's like, no, that's what they can let you walk out of a studio when you've given them 5 minutes to actually mix anything on the song.
Yeah. Does that ever? I'm sure that frustrates you at times.
Yeah, it frustrates because it's like, hey, yeah, they're like, man, it sounds great. I'm like, yeah, but that's what I did in 5 minutes. Imagine how it could sound if I was able to spend 5 hours on it and had everything.
Right.
Like, if you like that, like if your engineer's
Like,
able,
let me complete the job.
yeah, if your engineer can get you to a point where when you're leaving the studio, you're like, damn, this sounds really good. Pay them, give them that opportunity to show you what it can sound like if they mix the whole song.
Got you.
And show you what their full quality and what you could actually sound like.
Because I've listened to people's music and I'd be like, it's all right, but it sounds like you recorded it in a bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like, I'd be like, did you record this on your phone? Or something like that? Or,
Hey, I had somebody come in. This kid was like 16, and he came in and had made an entire, like, really good song on his iPhone.
now I know it's possible.
And had recorded in the microphone with the iPhone, and he was coming in to redo the vocals.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, when I pulled it up and I listened to it, I was like, you made this on your phone?
Because I've actually seen an award show where somebody did a performance on an iPhone, which was pretty fucking phenomenal.
And I mean, I have heard some vocals recorded on iPhones that
sounded all
are
right.
surprising.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Technology is going a crazy place.
And I do know there are a couple of Drake songs that have iPhone recorded vocals on them.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, 40's talked
Because he
about it.
had the BlackBerry, man. He had the BlackBerry. I know he got the iPhone.
Oh, wheelchair shawty.
So, outside of music, right?
Yeah.
I know you have other layers to you. You know what I mean? So I know you're a car guy.
Yes.
So what is your like favorite car of all time?
Oh.
Like if you and not maybe not of all time. I think that's a stretch. If you could own your favorite car, what would it be?
That's difficult.
And I'm gonna guess it'll be a manual.
That's difficult. Because there are a lot of cars to choose on a favorite car of what I would like. Like if I only had one car, or like we got to have more detail here.
Okay, a car that
Like
you would not
Would ever get rid of?
it can't be one that you have to build.
Oh no.
Okay.
I mean, of course, I'll go with like the generic, like a McLaren F1. That would be.
Isn't it like a
amazing.
race car?
Sorta?
It's like literally
Well,
like
I mean, it's a 3-seater. You sit in the center. It's built in the 90s.
it's that one.
There's like a
Didn't
101 of them.
Wyclef have one?
They're like 20. Yeah, Wyclef had one back when it was $1 million car. Now they're 25 to 50 million.
Shit.
But
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say because like, I mean, the car I've got now I really love, my Z.
yeah, that's fucking dope.
Maybe like an R30 Ford Skyline would be pretty dope. I've been really kind of getting into Lamborghinis a lot more lately.
I've seen like I'm a car YouTube guy. I watch a lot of car YouTube.
Yeah, I watch a lot of it too.
And I noticed the Huracan is like
Bulletproof?
going crazy right now.
And it's bulletproof.
I mean, it's like an R8 basically, right?
No.
I mean, that's what I hear. I'm not a car guy.
Okay.
I'm just, you know what I mean? Don't shoot me.
Like I've driven 08s. Those are fun. They share a lot of same components, but they are not the same.
Okay, so that's the whole Volkswagen comparison thing because of the components, not necessarily.
They share a lot of same like components. There's differences with their engines, but they're not the same.
Okay, gotcha.
The Huracan's a nasty, nasty beast. And I've been watching people on YouTube beat the living shit out of them.
That and Aventadors.
But more so the Huracans.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's
people
the one
are starting to beat the shit out of the Aventadors.
Yeah, because the Aventador is the one where the doors go up, right? And then the Huracan is the one they don't.
They don't.
Right.
But
okay,
people are starting to really go into twin turbos and stuff on the Aventadors. That's going to be interesting. But I'm just saying, like, the amount of boosted Huracans and just high horsepower and how much they just beat the shit out of them and they keep running.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any of the other supercars doing that. Like, McLarens are in the shop every other day.
They're not doing it with Ferraris. They're not doing it with, like you said, like the R8. There's very few. I've seen very few of those.
R8s. I mean, R8s are nice cars.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
a step below.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a step below what we're talking about here. Like I've seen a lot of McLaren. The 720s or 670s?
I think around
something like that.
There's the 720s. I haven't seen any of those around. I've seen a couple of 570s around. But I mean, it's like there's so many cars I would go for.
In the non-super realm, as far as like your regular, Nissan, BMW, Mercedes, like if you could pick up
with a Merc, probably like an S65 AMG.
Nice.
Or an S63.
A lot of power, a lot of luxury.
Just nasty sounding engine.
Yeah.
Cause my stepmom's got the GLC.
Is that the SUV?
Yeah, she's got the little tiny AMG 63, and the thing sounds nasty every time it cranks up.
I bet.
It sounds like it is ready to eat you.
What's your favorite car you ever owned?
That's tough. Because that's kind of a tie between my Nismo that I've got now and my 96 240SX that had a Sylvia swap. So it was a little 4-banger turbo, little drift car.
That's a fun whip right there.
Oh, it was so much fun. I wish I had kept that car. God, I wish I had kept that car. Value on them went up so much, but I was spending like the equivalent of what I was spending each month and keeping it in repairs and having to have it in the shop, and like I was then the shop being like just a garage at my dad's that I was working on it. It was staying in the like shop for like a week or two a month, and I was having to drive like one of my dad's like spare work trucks.
Yeah, that's too much. Like,
and just because my car was always broke, so I was like always borrowing a truck, and I sold that car and was able to buy a 350Z for a while. For less than what I was paying for repairs on the 240. And I wish I still had that 240 because the body on it was perfect. And the dash wasn't cracked, which is like a normal thing on 240s, is almost all of them dashes are cracked.
Yeah, so you should have held on to that puppy.
The last sighting of it was my old best friend like calling me. He had spotted it on the side of the road. He was like, dude, I don't know why it sounds like this. And he was like an expert in those engines. He like knew SR20 engines backwards and forwards. And he's like, I've never heard one sound like this. I think the kid blew the engine. I'm like, shit.
Damn.
But that was one of my favorite cars.
I had a 96 Impala once. And I sold it for more than what I bought it for.
That's always a good come up. I sold the 240.
Yeah, but that was around the same time the fucking bullshit happened.
What bullshit happened?
Bullshit. The bullshit, yes. I was going all in, bro.
That bullshit.
I was going all in.
That's
all fucking in, dog.
That's such another level to bullshit.
Yeah, man. And you know what's crazy? I ran into him at a Waffle House one night. When I had a girlfriend at the time. Me and her sitting at the Waffle House. It's like 2:30 in the morning. he walks up to me at the table. I'm sitting, you know how Waffle House is. You got your little table. I'm on one side, my girl's on the other side. He walks up to the table, tries to dap me up. I put my gun on the table. And this is when the weirdness started going. Like, it started going real downhill for him. Like, the whole, like, hand tattoos, the face tattoos started coming. Yeah.
I don't know.
Known him since he was in the 5th grade.
I
Hey, man.
I didn't know him that long.
Hey. That's what you get blacklisted for. The fuck?
I don't know. I have no comments on this situation.
It's cool. We're past it now.
We're past it.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
past it now. But yeah, man. Had a 96 Impala.
96 Impala.
That was my favorite car ever. I want another one. But at the same time, I don't like what came with driving it. Because I would always get pulled over. All the time. All the time.
I mean, it does kind of look like a drug dealer car.
It's just a car. Every car could be a drug dealer car.
But it's something about an Impala. Especially a 96 Impala.
Man, that shit's a fucking classic, dude. That shit's a classic.
You should have just put a Bible on the dash. Like a real flower-like type Bible on the dash.
Sensational.
That's an idea. I gotta put like something in the mirror.
Yeah.
Little like a crucifix or something.
No, like an actual like flowery looking look like a grandma Bible. Throw it up on the dash.
Oh yeah. See, no. Well, it'd have to be the next 96. The one I had, all my windows are tinted, including the front.
No, I mean it ain't gotta be just whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you're moving in. Just do that.
Just keep a Bible on the dash.
Keep a Bible on the dash. Trust me. It works.
Gunplay said it first. Well, that's the first time I ever heard it. He definitely said it in the song once.
I mean, I know people it has worked successfully for.
You're on to something, sir. You're on to something.
It's something about
Every time we get together, you teach me something.
Something about a
I learned
flowery,
something.
like old lady looking Bible on the dash just gets the popo in the right way.
So, I'm always curious, man.
Yeah.
You have this thing where you just happen to have I don't know if it's a gift of gab, but strippers love you, man.
Oh God, don't go in there.
I mean,
I don't know how that works. I don't understand. I don't know how you know this story. I don't know what.
is it the hair? Is it
This
you?
was long before I had hair. I used to have my hair. My hair used to be super short until about 3 years ago.
Is it the height? Is it the fact that you're like you live this like industry kind of esque life?
Before I was even doing any music,
Is it the D?
or before like I was doing anything. I'm not commenting.
I mean, how does this happen? You just
it's
trip and
not-
fall and they're all strippers?
What? I meet them outside the club.
So you
It's-
frequent the strip club?
I mean, not frequent. I used to at one point,
Ah.
but it was after I was already friends with all the girls.
Oh, so you were just always the ladies' man.
I was just there hanging out with girls.
You were the ladies' man.
Not really. I wasn't like, not all of. I mean, I was more so like friends with a group of girls.
It's a very humble
That's
way to
what
put
the
it.
Thing. I mean, like friends, like not fucking them, like actual friends.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yeah, stripper Thanksgiving was one of the best like Thanksgivings ever.
Say what?
Yeah.
Stripper Thanksgiving?
Yes.
The fuck was that?
It was at a friend's apartment, and the two girls that lived there were both strippers, and they invited all of their stripper friends over, and it was about a total of 7 or 8 girls. Maybe it was me and like 2 or 3 of them's boyfriend. No, 2 of them's boyfriends, and we had Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody brought something. The host cooked a duck. It was delicious. But yeah, it was stripper Thanksgiving because all the girls in attendance were strippers.
Okay. Okay, so being that it was a stripper Thanksgiving,
Yes.
were they on or off the clock at this Thanksgiving?
They were off the clock. We were at an apartment. Everybody had their clothes on.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just they were strippers.
I was about to say, dude, you're the fucking man.
No, just because I hang out with strippers does not mean they're
No.
naked all
I
the
got
time.
some homegirls that are strippers.
They wear clothes.
Yeah,
That's just at the club.
I got a few homegirls that are strippers.
But yeah, they just find me in the wild. It's been weird. It's like it's happened on multiple occasions to the point where like even friends have witnessed it happen and they're like, "How?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like even like one girl like I met off of Bumble like years ago and we're like hanging out
Bumble.
and we're like kicking it and it comes up in like conversation. I make the joke that like strippers just seem to find me and I just meet them out in the wild and she goes, "Well, shit, I just confirmed your theory because I am one."
That is crazy.
And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding
I seem
me?"
to come across a lot of chicks that do hair.
Yeah, that's a lot of them around here.
Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm like, God damn it. That means...
I mean, you just have a type. That's what's going on.
No. Fuck that, dude. Something's wrong.
But you don't have hair. That's the interesting thing. That's what it is.
Crazy.
They know they don't have to do your hair. That's why hairdressers are attracted to you. They're like, somebody I don't have to... They won't ask me if I'm going to do their hair.
I don't know what it is. That might have something to do with it.
Could be.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's fucking ridiculous, dude. They're like, yeah, I do something involving hair. I'm like, fuck, not again. Not again.
That, or they just think you'd look good with a wig on so they could practice styling and have somebody to talk to.
Hell no. Oh, no. No, we're not doing that.
Well, I mean, you're bald. You kind of do look like one of those like mannequins that they would be using to put the...
That was a shot. I like to keep my head smooth, okay? I like to take care of my skin, try to exfoliate sometimes, you know? Goodness gracious. I'm trying to learn the gift of gab, and here you go, talking about my damn bald head. I'm trying to learn how to get strippers.
Your bald head will get you strippers.
I just got to frequent the strip club. I got to start going to the strip club. Maybe that's what it is.
Eh,
I don't hang out where the
it's not
strippers
really
at.
that. That's not even that. Like, that's not how I met strippers. Like, I mean, well, I have met strippers.
Well, you say you meet yours like
I mean,
in the woods and stuff.
I have met strippers at the strip club, and like, I mean, there have been plenty of nights that I have gone to the strip club and not spent any money, and then gone home.
You give me a very like player vibe. You have like a very player.
I don't know.
Not currently. I mean,
No.
I'm talking about in your prime.
Not really.
In your prime, you know.
No, I mean, I was always like,
And I don't mean player like sleeping with a lot of women. That's not what I mean.
other than what
I
we
mean
discussed
player like.
earlier.
I mean player like. There's always just women around.
Nah, not necessarily.
I don't believe you.
I mean, like,
you were at a stripper Thanksgiving, bro.
yeah, that was that time. That was fun.
It's not a thing.
That was a period of time. It wasn't like an ongoing. It's not like that happens every Thanksgiving.
You know who I'm with on my Thanksgivings?
Your family?
You know how boring that is?
Oh, it's super boring. That's who I'm with on my like Thanksgivings. This was just
No,
a year.
I'm gonna have to take a year off
I had a
from
conflict,
them and
so-
put together some kind of epic Thanksgiving.
You always have to have at least one epic Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I
That's
haven't.
the most
though.
epic
I haven't.
Thanksgiving I've had.
I haven't had one though. I haven't
Like
had
I
an
said,
epic
nothing
Thanksgiving.
crazy happened that night.
I mean, it doesn't even have
Like
to.
everybody just
It's
hung
the
out.
fact.
We just had dinner and
It's
smoked
the
some
shock
blunts and
value
watched some
in
funny
retelling the
videos.
story. It's like, yeah, man, went to a stripper Thanksgiving this year. To the average man, his eyes are gonna light up. Tell me about this stripper giving.
It was fun.
Did the strippers give,
It was
or did you give
the most delicious food I've had at a
to
Thanksgiving.
the strippers? Did you say thanks for their giving?
I do think in the blessing somebody did. I may be wrong, but I feel like somebody thanked God for stripper poles.
That's how you do it, man. Because I would too. I thank all the strippers for doing what they do. For providing us the fantasy. And for some of us, the reality. you know, and
I mean, they're just people. They're just girls trying to make money, and like,
I
know
just
that
acknowledge. I acknowledge some of their talent.
that guys just a lot of them, like especially some of those girls on the pole.
I met some chicks so good on a pole they didn't have to take their clothes off,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and like she looked like she should be a part of Circus Olay.
Those girls are strong.
The girl had an 8-pack.
Yeah, those girls are strong.
Like
That
she
is-
looked like she should be
That
fucking.
is not easy shit that they're doing. Like hell, even just walking around in those heels.
Did you see the girl that fell
shit
from the
is not
pole
easy.
and busted her face?
Yes, and then
kept going.
kept working.
And then she had like knocked out some teeth and shit.
She broke her jaw.
That was commitment. Do you hear me?
I thought she was dead.
I thought she had broken her neck.
Why is the pole that high? Why is that necessary? Why?
I think it's just the visual, bro.
But still,
that was the stripper pole lean.
But like, that high? Like that girl almost died.
Down in the valley where the girls get naked.
These girls are just trying to make some money, support. Like a lot of them got kids. They're just trying to support the family, trying to get through school. They're just people working, and there's a bunch of like guys that are just
You know what?
lonely and want to go
That's
pay
why
a
they
bunch of
love.
money to
That's
see
why
them.
they love you. Did you hear how great you made their job sound? I don't know if anybody's gonna catch that, but you made their job sound delightful.
Like it's not a delightful. It's a hard job.
Oh,
Those
I
girls
know.
have to be tough. They deal with a lot
I
of
can give
bullshit.
some of them like I can give a stripper money and she show me her vagina.
I never really liked frequently those clubs.
This is Georgia.
Yeah, I like going to the clubs in Carolina that are like the
Oh
bottoms
yeah,
are on.
yeah,
I like a little bit of imagination.
yeah.
I don't need
I
to
can
see
feel that.
an Arby's discount
It
display every time I go to the
almost
strip
feels
club.
like okay. Being raised in Atlanta makes me feel like the stripper
Oh,
scene
yeah.
in South Carolina.
See, I've never actually gone to an Atlanta strip club. I keep hitting the mic. Sorry.
Are you serious? You never been to an Atlanta strip club?
No.
You in the industry you work in,
I don't do
and
much
as
work
many
in Atlanta.
rappers.
I just don't do much work in Atlanta. Everybody comes to me.
Oh my gosh!
Even like guys that are in Atlanta will just drive up from Atlanta and work with me.
Dude, the Atlanta strip club scene is nothing. There's nothing like it.
I've never been.
It's everything you'd want it to be, and some. Like,
I want to go to Portland. Portland has the highest per capita of strip clubs in any other city in the country. And it's all goth bitches.
really,
Excuse me, goth chicks. Badass goth bitches.
we love bitches too. We love all of them.
You know, the big titty goth bitch. Those are the girls. You haven't heard that phrase?
That's a very different club experience for me.
Yeah, those are fun.
You know, for me, it's like big asses, big titties. You know what I'm saying?
I like big asses and big titties.
You
All goth
know,
girls.
they're starting to get a little doctored in the Atlanta area. A lot of chicks are, resorting to the needle.
Well, that happens.
But they come and they chill. Some of them, they just chill naked, smoke weed,
Yeah.
roll up and shit, be cute and prance or whatever the fuck they do. But some of them are lazy as shit. Lazy as fuck. They've learned that big titties and big ass means the scammers and drug dealers are gonna throw their money, and they do a half-ass job.
Some.
Then you have, but the ones that are passionate, the ones that put in the work, those are the ones. Those are the ones.
But some of them are just doing it just to make money and work because they know they can
I
get in
mean,
there and
I
work.
do a lot of things just to make money.
Why is your phone on?
I don't even know why the shit is fucking dinging. Nobody talks to me, bro.
Why don't you turn? You're recording. You should have that like on silent, man.
It's all good, man.
Come on, Brandon. Tighten up,
Jeez,
man.
bro.
Tighten up.
Oh, what?
What did you do? Is everything okay?
Yeah. It was just a weird text from a person I wasn't expecting it from. And it was like, why are you talking about this? It's like, are you legit? You don't do legit stuff.
I don't do anything that's legit. Well, yeah, I do. That's a lie.
That's the studio, bro. Gropp House Studios is what's legit. But yeah, man, like strippers, man, in the Atlanta area, like the stripper scene it's one of a kind.
Yeah, I've never been.
I go other places and I'm like, you're not giving me anything.
The club I used to like and used to go to all the time was called Platinum Plus, and it was in Columbia.
I've been there before.
It was dope until like it got burned down. Now there's like Platinum West, and that's pretty cool, but it's not the same vibe as like Plus was. But I mean,
so what type of strip club?
I don't really like going to the
you
strip
like a
club
titty
anymore.
bar or you like a strip club?
Like, I mean, what's the difference? I mean,
There's a lot more of this.
I prefer when like they're wearing their bottoms.
Oh, okay. You like a little bit of fantasy to
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to see every girl's hoo-ha that's walking by.
There's a lot of ugly hoo-has.
Yeah, when you go to if you go to discotheque, it's just like I mean, it's a
I think I seen a chick
discount
with
South.
fucking crew socks on with
It's-
clear heels.
Dude, I remember going like the first one
It
of
was
the first
ter-
times I went to
like,
a
it
strip
was
club in
terrible.
Augusta was one of them downtown, and they had a girl dancing on a pool table that had a piece of plywood laid across it. And I was like, this is horrible.
I went in one of the strip clubs. I don't even know which one it was, right? That when the girl was on the stage was barely tall enough, or the ceiling was barely tall enough for them to stand straight up.
Yeah. Do you remember when Fantasies had the one-leg stripper?
I follow her on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard she's in Atlanta now.
Is she?
I don't know. Are you out there?
No.
I don't know.
I'm not out. She's probably out
I
there
was asking
somewhere.
her if she was out there.
She is out there. She's out there. And she actually does a great job of not showing the leg.
Really?
Yeah, you don't know it's there unless you
I
know.
always heard that it was great. I could never get anybody to go with me to see.
I mean, I've seen clips of
And
her
I
before.
didn't want to go. I don't.
She video.
didn't
Look,
wanna go to that strip
I
club
will
alone.
applaud her.
No
I
matter
didn't
what
want to go see that. I
happens,
felt like that
these
was an experience I
just
needed
keep
with people,
applauding.
not.
It was
seeing
different. I remember going out of the country and going to a strip club, and they allow so much more, but it wasn't necessarily attractive.
Oh, I've heard that there's like some like in Portland. I've heard that there's like straight up clubs where they'll pass out like vibrators for you to use on the people that are on stage, and that's consensual.
I don't know if I want your bodily fluids on me.
I feel like that's a little far, and that titty goth bitches way too many times.
There's nothing wrong with big titty goth bitches.
Yeah, but I have a feeling Are we recording again? Oh, we're still recording.
Yeah, we're about to wrap in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with big titty goth bitches, man. I love all kinds of bitches, man. They're the shit. So like, what do you is there anything you're gonna add to the business? Like as far as like Gropp House Studios, are you gonna add like maybe another service or something? Or
Not really. I mean, it's just kind of. I mean, for the most part, it's just mainly people come in and working like with me as an engineer because I don't have other engineers in. It's all just me, and it's just I happen to have converted my damn house into a studio because
I mean,
that's what you do.
yeah, and then I mean, you always have full control.
Yeah.
You always know what's going on.
I mean, so
it works for you.
it's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I've got the studio there. People call me based on that. A lot of people call me based on like reference of like people working with me. I get mixes sent in from all over the place.
That's dope.
So
How often you get exposed to like maybe up and coming artists before they like pop, so to speak?
I work with a lot of indie artists.
Mm-hmm.
More so. I haven't kind of gotten into like the signed artist and industry stuff because frankly, when you start working with labels, they don't pay you for a while.
Oh yeah, I heard it can be months.
Oh, it can be 6 to 9 months to a year before you get paid for the work you did.
Jeez.
And when you work with independent artists and people that are like funding or people that have funding to actually work, you're getting paid.
Yeah, you don't want to be a starving engineer.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got some other things that I'm working on, and like I said, I've got some other projects that I'm putting together right now, and things that I am going to be rolling out, but I'm just doing everything at my own pace.
Gotcha.
Like, I mean,
If you decide whenever you're ready to do something different,
that's when I do it.
right?
Like, I've been fortunate enough to get to a point to where I can't have enough work and I have enough clients that, like, I work with on a regular basis and keep things going, and other like streams of income as well, that I'm allowed, like I allow myself to be able to be picky on what I work on and how I want to do things and how I spend my time.
Oh, that's what's up.
Because I got to a point at one point period where I was just working nonstop all the time. I was taking every single session that called. I was like work until wee hours of the night, which I mean, depending on clients and depending on session and what's going on, I'll do a session that'll go all the way through the night. That's not a problem. But it used to be a thing when I was doing it every night.
Oh,
Or,
okay. Like you were like overexhausting yourself.
Just completely just fried on it and just working too much and working on a lot of music that I didn't like and I didn't believe in. I
Did it
didn't believe
almost?
the artist.
Did it almost like? Hey, you step back and you like lost your love for it.
Yeah. And then that's when I like pulled back and like it's kind of funny. One of the things I've always noticed is every time that I jump my rate up, my clients like it always like I drop off some people, but some people keep on, and then you get on new people, and it always gets a little bit better.
Okay.
But also you're getting better,
right?
Or
I mean, because when you own a business, you own your own business, you're paying yourself.
Yeah.
You got to give yourself a raise.
But I started just making more of a priority and focus on trying to get things that I actually wanted to work on, rather than just taking anything and working on anything, and or trying to take on projects that I knew I probably wasn't the best person for. And one of the greatest things I've kind of learned is be like, when you just refer somebody to somebody else, because I had this like here recently actually where I had a client or a potential client hit me up. They needed a service that like what they were asking particularly I could kind of do, but I know another studio and another engineer that could do it better.
Gotcha. So you'll shoot them that way.
Learning to reference that over instead of like when you're green and you don't know what you're doing, just trying to take on every project because you think you can do it.
Gotcha.
Well, this is going to be better for this artist if they go over here because I think this person's going to be able to do what they want and have it all in one and be better for the artist.
Got you. That's fair.
But I kind of just built up to a point where I have that, like, it's kind of a luxury to be able to do that. I don't take it for granted. You do have to kind of like keep working and you keep new clients and keep checking things out. And I'm not just like slowing down on things, but I try to only work on stuff that I enjoy because then I work better on it.
Yeah, I mean,
it ends up sounding better.
You'll put more effort in on your end.
And when I'm happier, the clients are happier.
And better product.
And everything just,
everybody's happy.
It all just works better when you just kind of narrow it down and you're not just like, because if it's stuff that you just hate, if you're in there and it's the same crap, like over and over and over, and like the same songs,
shit
and
loses
just stuff
its luster,
that, like they're not even like when people, you can tell sometimes like people just aren't even trying. They're just in there wanting to like say words and they're just repeating the same words on songs, and there's no actual story or anything going on. There's no trying to build a song. They're just wanting to rap.
Yeah.
And think that it's going to be hot. And it's not.
It's not. It's gonna be.
You
can
tell them hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down.
Trash as fuck.
That shit is a 2-pack of
and then
ass.
You're gonna be the one that says,
"The fuck are you talking? Oh, that shit stinks."
And when they say, "Hey, did you like my song?"
No, I did not.
Shit was trash.
I can make you sound nice on it, but I don't like it. I don't think the song's good.
Yeah.
But that's one of the first things, like we said earlier, I'll tell people. So by doing that, you weed people out. And better
people come in, and there's
there have been times, like, I'm guilty of it. I've been like clients that I didn't want to just to be like, no, you can't come here, but like clients that I didn't like working with, and then I just kind of would be like a little bit like just kind of short with, which isn't a good way to do it. That's not a professional way to handle myself, but that's how I used to be, like, stupid.
Right.
I've grown a lot with like how handling people, because that's one of the things you learn with like running a studio and being an engineer is how to like interact with people and like kind of read them and kind of be a little bit of psychology, and like to an extent sometimes you're bid their therapist because they're in there working things out on the microphone, that when you're listening to it, it's really deep and they're actually dealing with like something that's important,
personal to them or something like that.
So you have to learn how to handle those situations. But I've had people that were like really horrible that like I would just be like, nah, it's not good, be like that all the time. And they'd keep coming back, and I'm like, all I do is tell them that their music's bad, and they keep coming back. And then like eventually their music starts to become good, and I'm like, oh shit, okay,
It's like
yeah.
you're
So
getting
just
better.
telling them that it's bad all the time is making them get to the point where they're like, I'm gonna go ahead and prove him wrong.
Yeah, so you're
But-
you're kind of pushing them.
But you can't do that with everybody,
Right, everybody won't respond that
and but I mean, I have had people where like, oh, you're talking about crazy things in the studio.
Here we go.
I try to treat when they're in the booth, I try to treat everybody very equally, and like go about it as we're trying to get the best out of the song.
Right.
Not like, I don't care like who you are, what your ego is, blah 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 blah. We're working on this song. I'm going to do everything I can to get you in the point where you can make this song sound the best.
Right.
Which means getting you in the headspace to do that. Because sometimes people go in there and they're reading it off their phone and they're going blah 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 blah.
And it sounds like they're reading it off the phone.
Exactly. Like I can go, I'm like, you're reading it off your phone. Now I got a camera set up in there where I can watch them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, put your phone down.
So what happened?
I had this dude that I had worked with a bunch coming in, and he's a cool guy, really really good guy, but he's like a little intense. And like that's just him. He doesn't mean anything by it. It's just how he is. He's just an intense person.
Right.
He brought in a friend of his or somebody that he knew that was going to guest on a song, and that guy like just kind of like big, kind of scruffy guy, like kind of quiet, like deep voice, but he's in there rapping, and like he gets stuck on like a word, but he was also like not getting aggressive enough for what he was talking about, and I was trying to like get him through it. So I kind of just started talking a little bit of smack to him. I was like, "Come on, man, you should be getting this shit. What's wrong with you? Like, what the fuck? Come on, do it. Like, what the hell, man? Why can't you get this?" Until he started getting angry about it. And then once he got angry about it, he fucking blasted through it and just nailed it.
You're like, dude, that's
And
it.
he came out.
That's
like,
it.
And he came out. He was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, got it, bro." He was all happy as shit. The next time I saw the dude that brought him in, he was like, "Man, I was scared to death when you started doing that." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "That dude loses his mind and just beats the shit out of people for like talking like that to him. I ain't never heard nobody say that kind of shit to him."
That's what's up, though.
And I'm like, well, he knew I wasn't like being mean. I wasn't being particular on him. I was just getting him in the zone for that song.
Right.
Because he was talking about something where he needed to be that kind of angry.
Yeah.
So I had to give him that.
You had to give
That's
what he
like part
needed.
of like producing.
Okay, got you.
Like, that's what- when
because I see
people-
on all the shows, they be like, they'll stop and they'll press on the little thing. They're like, "Hey, push that shit out. I ain't feeling you."
Also, if your engineer is stopping to press a button instead of having a foot switch to talk to you.
see,
there'd be a
you
slack.
speaking a whole nother language to me.
If your
right
engineer
now.
has to stop everything they're doing to touch that button and they can't be continuing to work, they ain't caught on that foot switches are the best thing on earth for talkbacks.
See, you fancy. See, this is how I know you've been upgrading the studio. You
When
coming
you have
up.
a foot switch for your talkback, you don't have to take your hand off the mouse or the board. You can continue
That's
to work
dope.
while you're talking to the artist and get
See,
things
you're
done
on
quick.
to something. You're on to something. Engineers out there,
It's one of the nicest things I've ever gotten.
y'all might not
It's
be
so
on. You
convenient.
might know what he's talking about. You might not. If you don't, he just puts
But a
you
lot
on
of
something.
engineers like to use that talkback as a time to take a break
Mm.
because they can just sit on that, and because they're talking on the talkback, they don't have to do anything.
Mm.
Where you can be on the talkback and be like, "Oh, this part," and be adjusting things if you have a foot switch.
See, that's how you multitask.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I'm just giving away like stupid little.
Hey, man, a little
But-
free game, man. A little free game for these folks.
But I mean, I forgot what we were talking about now.
Oh, you said buddy came in there all aggressive, and he said, he
Oh yeah,
killed
but the next time he came in, he's like, nobody's ever talked to him like that. And I was like, I was just getting him in that zone. Yeah, well, that's what I was wrapped on. But it's just about figuring out how to like push somebody's buttons a little bit to get them in the mood for the song without being like make them.
especially
hate
the
it.
song is about a particular feeling or something.
And
like
that's
that.
one of the things is like a lot of people just come in and they'll try and read, and you have to figure out how to actually get them into it. And like, oh, that's what I was saying. Is that's more where it comes in actually producing, because people think that producing is just sitting in there making the beat, but that's just one. That's making the beat. Like producing is helping put the song together and get the right elements to the song.
Gotcha.
Like, do you think Quincy Jones sat down and like made all the music for things? I
Hell
mean,
no.
he can write music. He does write extremely good
Yeah,
music.
but he definitely.
But you go in there and tell people what to do or how to do these things.
He's like, hey,
There's-
add this sound.
There are different dimensions of producing than just making the beat.
Got you. Or they might say, okay, well, this person should be on here, so we got to get this.
And that's what separates like a producer engineer from just a regular engineer, because just
Got
the
you.
engineer is just sitting there hitting record, and they're not really giving any feedback or taking any like thing. But like the second the engineer sits there and goes, "Hey, give me a fifth on this or give me a third," that's a producing part.
Oh, because see, look, that was a whole nother language. I don't know what you just said.
Yeah, when you're like, "Here, give me a harmony, give me a third harmony, try and get up to here," and that's what you're suggesting. If you're doing that as the engineer, that's producing.
Oh, wow.
Like, it doesn't have to
Give
be
me
just
my
a beat.
points, man. I need my fucking points. If this shit go big, I need my percentage.
I mean, it depends on who you're working with and how you're doing things. Like, you can
Need my
negotiate
percentage. The residuals.
but I mean, points are hard, especially
sure.
in the industry,
I'm
right?
sure.
But depending, if you're working with like independent artists, you can negotiate points. Like, if they're having an issue with like a budget, like, all right, well, if it's something like you believe in and you're an engineer, you can work with them and say, all right, well, I'll do this and I'll do it for this fee, but I'll need points too.
Gotcha. So it's all a
Be
negotiation.
like, if
ultimately.
that, but that's like that's a big risk, because you got to actually believe that
Right.
album that they're gonna actually follow through with marketing.
And like they may do
And
more of that once.
That you'll
somebody's
actually
like,
see anything in the back end from it.
Because you might have to be an artist that, hey, if I come out with something, it's gonna make some.
They've got to be doing something.
Yeah, like it's gonna make
Like,
us
it's
money.
got to be getting plays.
Yeah, like it's gonna be top 100. I promise.
It's got to be like, well, I mean, not even necessarily that. It's just got to be getting actually streams to be able to like pay for what they're not covering at the beginning.
Right, the recoup.
Yeah, like believing in the song. Like, I mean, if
Gotcha.
you, it's like what was it? The Adele, one of those like big Adele songs before she popped was recorded and
When
like,
she was still fat.
okay.
I think she was still fat, like
I
Fat
mean,
Adele. And,
when she started, like when she was.
oh yeah, Fat
but-
Adele. That's when she was dope as fuck.
But she, they recorded it in like a garage studio, and like the song became huge. So like, and she was nobody. So if that, I don't know if that person got points or not, but if they did,
But they also it
they were
could have
living
been
off of it.
right.
Or
But it
making
could have
a
been
good-
like,
making a
hey,
good
I
bit off
paid for what I paid for.
Yeah.
But the song did what it did.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's the majority of the stuff that I work on is people just pay me. I record the song,
Got
I do
you.
the mix, and I mean, I'm not getting anything on the back end. There's very little right now. I'm not doing any. I don't go out there like trying to be like, oh, give me production credits because I do the song as an engineer.
I mean, shit.
I haven't gotten to that point to where I have like agreements with artists like that.
Okay, got you. I mean, but shit.
There are some that I am working with like at the moment that we have some mild things, but nothing that's released.
But shit, I mean, I can still applaud you for. I mean, you've been in the game seriously 10 years now. You know what I'm saying? You
It's been a
provide
bumpy
for
10
yourself.
years. It took a
Hey,
took
I mean,
a lot of learning.
it ain't always sweet.
No,
You know what I mean? So I got to give you your flowers while you're here, cause shit, you can't feel it when you're gone.
no.
You know, so I'll applaud you on that. You know, and do you have any goals set for yourself for 2021?
I mean, just kind of keep working and keep putting some stuff out. I want to get. I've got a project that I am working on with another artist that I'm doing some actual production work on, and like actually doing the beats and stuff, which I haven't really kind of been pushing out there too much. And
We can sit down again.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Since you got
once
something
that
coming.
gets done, we'll talk again. But that's something I'm wanting to try and get out sometime, probably by the summer or in the summer. That should be. I don't know. People are either gonna like it or they're gonna hate it, and I don't really care because I'm enjoying what I'm
Go
doing.
fuck
on
around
it.
and be
It's
critically
just gonna be
acclaimed.
fun. If it's stupid, then it's stupid.
It's gonna be fuck around, and be critically
if it's
acclaimed.
good, then it's
telling
good.
you.
I don't. But I'm gonna like it, and that's
Right.
all that matters.
And it's something you want to do. It's gonna be fun for
Yeah,
you.
it's just something for my soul. It's just something to like, because like I said, a lot of the music that I work with, I don't always like all of it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just like the artist. Like there are plenty of artists that I work with that like I'm not a huge big fan of their music. Like it's not bad music, but I like the passion that they're in it and they're trying to get somewhere with it. And if it's somebody's like his dream and they're working on it, I'm never gonna knock that. I'm not gonna tear them down, but I'm also gonna be honest with them on what I think on it. And that's also kept me with clients that like I've had for
So long, right?
like 8 to 10 years.
That the whole ride.
The whole ride. Like
Yeah,
there are
that's
clients
crazy.
that I'm dead honest with, and that's why they like me.
That's what's
Because a
up.
lot of engineers are really scared to tell them what they think of a song. And I'm just at the point like I don't care.
I mean, but shit. I mean, it makes your job easier too because you're not lying to nobody. You're not faking it.
When you do that, you lose more people. When you just are straight up with people, like do you really want to work with somebody you can't just be like, no, I don't like this.
Hell no, because you don't want to hang with nobody like that either. You know what I'm saying?
I like working with people that I feel like I could kick it with.
Right. I mean, it makes the process so much smoother.
Now, a lot of people that's one things that will drive me nuts. When people come in and they think that, oh, cool, I'm at the studio, so now we're best friends and let's hang out all the time. And they think that that's a way to like try and make friends so they can just hang out at the studio.
Oh no!
I'm like no. When your time is up, your time is up.
Yeah, like that's some groupie shit.
Like if we're bucking time, that's one thing. Like that's different. Like
right, that's business.
I don't my clients aren't necessarily my friends. It's only
right.
certain people that like I've worked with for a long time. I'll see out and I'll kick it with if I see them.
But y'all have your clients.
But we're not hitting up.
You have
hey,
a business
come hang
relationship, like.
Yeah, it's always business. Like if I'm hanging out with a client, like we're not just chilling.
Right.
It's hey, let's work on like a project. Like there's some people that I work with that I'll have like just meetings with and we'll talk like creative stuff. But like I'm not just kicking it with people because you got to separate your work life and your private life.
For sure. Can't mix that shit. It's like oil and fucking water. But so if people want your services, where can they find you at?
Gropphouse.com is my main, what is it? Yeah. Gropphouse.com is my main website, and Mixed by Gropp on Instagram.
Hell yeah, man. Make sure y'all follow him.
It's GROPP.
You know, if y'all need something recorded, our guy can help you right here.
My information's out there, like I said, on the website and on Instagram. You can get me pretty easy.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. You still recording podcasts and stuff?
I haven't done any in a while. I'm still up for it, but like I just did back when I did like Life Comes at You Fast and Conversations with Mo. Those are the main two that I did, and it was mainly because I knew Nightmare.
Yeah.
And then Mo's podcast kind of spun off of that one. And those things were ridiculous.
Well, shoot. Make sure you guys look him up. You know what I'm saying? Book him for his services, man. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Thanks for
He's
having
good at what
me.
he does. I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. And before we get up out of here, guys, as always, be safe.